I'm Laura Richardson with Relevate, and we're bringing you another episode of I'm Moving to North Carolina, Now What? So a big question is, how much do I need to prepare to pay when I'm buying a home? So there's multiple phases of the home buying process, one of which being pre-contract, during contract, and post. Pre-contract, one of the biggest things is gas, time, and money. So if you're going to be driving to see lots of different properties, you do want to make sure that you are allocating what that cost will be to go and drive. Let's say you're trying to move maybe an hour away. That comes at a cost. Now, this one's pretty understood, and most people are prepared for that travel time and the expenditures that it's going to take in gas. But then when we get to the during contract portion, this is where the real big ticket items start to hit. So once you go under contract, there are two fees that are immediately due, two deposits. One is the due diligence deposit, which could be thousands of dollars due at contract to the seller that you get back as a credit at closing day. And then another one is your earnest deposit. And while the earnest deposit contractually does not come into play until much later in the timeline, you do have a 5-day window to go ahead and turn that in to whoever is going to be holding that escrow money. So that trust account. It could be the firm, it could be an attorney. So both of those two fees are due at contract. Another one that comes into play very quickly is your appraisal fee. So as soon as you go under contract, you and your lender are going to decide to order an appraisal. And you want to do that as quickly as possible in the hopes that you will get the appraisal back during the due diligence process. Because if the home doesn't appraise, you obviously can either renegotiate or choose to walk away before your earnest money comes into play. Another big one is the inspection cost. Now, keep in mind, this amount can vary based on the size of the home, the distance it's going to take somebody to get to the property, and the level of intensity in the amount of inspections you're going to get. So for starters, you have that general inspection, which typically includes a radon test and a pest inspection. And then from there, we can start getting into our specialty. So that could be a roof inspection, HVAC, plumbing, electrical, anything that is going to be outside just the general scope of a general inspection. In addition to that, you might also order a survey. So the tricky thing with surveys is that they can actually be paid at the closing table, but often you're going to save a little bit of money by paying them out of pocket up front. So either way, it's going to come out of your pocket in cash at the beginning or the end, but it's up to you as to when you pay those fees. Something else might be any appliances that need to be ordered pre-contract, or pre-timeline. So let's say, for example, you're buying a new home, the refrigerator, the washer and dryer are included. Those might also be out-of-pocket expenditures that you're not thinking of because a lot of folks think that those automatically come with the property. They are personal property. They are not automatically included. So you either need to negotiate them into your contract or pay for them out of pocket. So then we get to closing costs and down payment. These are the biggest amounts you will probably pay through the entire contract. So a quick and easy way to understand this, you've got two buckets. Your down payment is your portion that you are paying towards the house. The rest of it is paid for by your lender. So for example, if you are in a 90-10 loan to value loan, 90% is paid for by the lender, while the remaining 10% will be paid by you. That's one bucket of money that goes towards principal and interest on the house. So it's going towards the actual cost of the home. Then you've got this other bucket. These are called closing costs. Closing costs are typically about 3% of the total amount to buy the home. Those closing costs are literally your fees for buying a house. They do not go towards that totality that you're investing in the new property. These are things like your title search, attorney fees, any type of loan origination stuff, that kind of thing. So down payment and closing costs. These will be due on closing day, and your lender should be able to give you kind of a pre-closing disclosure that allows you to understand what that amount is really going to look like so that you can best prepare and make sure, can we afford this house? So once you close on the house, we get into the third part of our timeline, which is post-closing. This is where your utilities are going to begin. So keep in mind you have gas, electric, water, internet. Your property taxes are going to start kicking in, your HOA fees, and then just general mortgage payments. The last thing would also be like any moving fees for taking your stuff from point A to point B. So it can be very costly to purchase a home, meaning you need to be upfront with your agent on what is doable and what is not. some of those things might be able to get wrapped into the contract and kind of alleviate the burden of the financial responsibility. So if you want some more information or any questions that you have, drop those in the comments below, and we'll see you on the next episode.